There's nothing better than having a good harvest after a long summer's work. But many people don't appreciate the work put into planting a garden. And many gardeners and farmers have developed their own methods for planting various plants, including tomatoes, to fit their own individual garden. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the methods I have learned from working in a garden myself. From planting seeds and preparing the soil, to planting and caging the full-grown plants. In a garden, work begins far before spring. It's best to actually start planting tomatoes at the end of winter in these things called peat pellets. And these are nice because you can let them grow inside, and it gives them a head start to growing because tomato seeds are actually quite small, and they need that head start if you want the full harvest. Once the tomato seeds are growing inside, once they get to about 8 inches, you usually want to transplant them into red solo cups so that they can grow even larger. Once they grow to about 16 inches, they're ready to plant in the garden, and hopefully by then it's springtime. Otherwise, you'll have decently large tomato plants growing in your house, and you won't be able to plant them. But before you can plant your tomatoes, you must first prepare the soil. Now, one of the biggest things about preparing the soil is location, location, location. I remember one year we planted tomatoes, and a couple years back we had cut down a walnut tree. Now, the tomatoes did awful that year, and that's because walnut trees, according to Murray Carpenter at the New York Times, actually secrete a chemical known as juglone, which can be harmful to many other varieties of plants. So make sure when you're choosing a location for your garden that it's well away from plants which can be potentially harmful to your tomatoes. After that, you will need to enrich the soil with compost. What we do is, well, what I do, whenever we eat something like oranges, bananas, we take the peels and we throw it into a big bin. And you let that sit for 2 years, and when you come back, it's pitch black and very rich, and it's very good. It does wonders for your tomato plants. So you shovel that onto the space that you want to plant your tomatoes, and you till it into the soil. And that just adds a little bit of extra nutrients for your plants. Once that's done, you can then actually plant your plants. Now, the first thing you want to do is dig a hole for your plants to go into. To do that, we use a post hole digger. That produces a nice round hole that goes straight down without being too wide. Once that's done, you actually want to trim the plants. You want to trim from the roots all the way up to the top 4 inches, leaving 10 inches of exposed stem. Now, this might seem harsh, but it's actually good because tomatoes, when you plant them, they will actually grow roots from their stem. So you're trading about 10 inches of leaves for about 10 inches of roots. And that will actually benefit your plant later on, but giving that extra bit of root system. You then want to fill in with a mixture of peat moss and potting soil instead of normal dirt. And this is just to give it a little bit of nutrients before it has to extend its roots to help it recover from all that trimming you did. Finally, you'll want to cage your tomatoes. Now, this process takes quite a bit of time. What we actually do is we cover the entire ground with newspaper, and then we weigh it down with grass clippings. And this is actually serves 2 purposes. The first is to prevent diseases from traveling from the soil to the plant. In late 2009, according to Julia Moskin, also NewYorkTimes.com, a blight took out half of the Northeast tomato harvest. And this helps prevent diseases, pathogens, from traveling from the ground to the leaves of the plant, and provides a little bit of a buffer. Also, the second, and what I think is the most important thing, is it prevents any weeds from growing, so you do not have to weed the garden, which is very, very, very nice. You then want to cage the plants, and the cage, what that does is tomato plants tend to be they tend to be like vines where they grow on the ground, and unless you support them, they will actually kind of fall over and they'll break under their own weight. So the cages actually provide good support. Once that's done, you can watch your 80 plants produce a 700 to 1,400 tomato harvest. You'll have plenty to can, to cook, to eat, to give to 7 of your neighbors, to give to all of your colleagues at work, and still have plenty more to throw into the compost to enrich the soil for your next year.